I met a gypsy.
So,
Are you, when you're watching guys like Kenny and Marv and Dylan, are you trying to, when you like go back, say you're around Kenny for a few turns and you really get to like kind of watch some shit that Kenny's doing, are you then trying to like go back through the week and implement some of that stuff that he's doing, or?
yeah. No, it's so being here in California, like I used to see Ferrandas a lot, but now that Star has gone to Florida. So when Kenny was out here just doing like suspension testing, I would watch them, and they all kind of take similar lines, but it's just how they do it. Like with Marv, like he'll put his foot out, but with Kenny, he'll keep his feet on the pegs. And then with Marv, like he'll clutch it in one spot, and then Kenny, he just lugs the motor. But yet their lap times are so identical, and it's like, well, what's better? And it's just with moto, everybody's style is different. So he kind of just got to like nitpick and try to make what worked for you. No, it's hard. That's what's so crazy about the sport is there's no like right way, but there's definitely like a wrong way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
So when you're, so when I look at you ride, I see a dude that rides a bike really fucking good. And you've got the, like, you can whip, you can scrub, you've got, like, the flowy sort of style, but then you've also got, like, the Barsha Sendy sort of style. How much are you working on technique as a rider, like, on a daily basis?
Every day. And it's because I've always had that hangout style, but Tony has been trying to like reel me back in and make everything into one motion. So there are points on the track where it's kind of beneficial to let it hang out a little bit because I know how to do that. But then there's also points where you can't do that because you're just going to risk yourself at putting yourself in danger, and you have to be smooth. So I feel like lately I've been getting bits and pieces from like everyone on how they do things, and obviously with Tony, and I kind of just like made it into my own thing, and it's just a work in progress. But I do appreciate you for saying that, because I watch myself now and I'm like, I don't really have any style from what I used to, but to other people they're like, dude, like you flow, and I'm like, I don't know, because I know me for me, but I don't know me from like a third person point of view, you know? Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely, so because of jiu-jitsu, like I never really thought about motocross as like technical. Like I sort of knew like, yeah, you put your foot out and yeah, you do this, but yeah, until I started doing jiu-jitsu and realizing the intricacy that goes into a technique. So like for me, when I do competitions, like one of the things that I win with constantly is a triangle choke. And it's like you can teach somebody on day one what a triangle choke is. Like I literally did learn it my first day of jiu-jitsu, and then you can finish it and you're like squeezing your fucking legs, and there's just like you're like pulling down the person's head, and there is all this like you're forcing this technique, right? And then now like 4 years down the road, I can do a triangle choke with zero effort. Like I can choke people without even closing my legs. I can, like, the intricacies, like I know the type of difference that the angle of my hips makes. I know the way that I can control somebody's posture. I know the way that people can escape. I know the way to change that technique to another technique, and then change, like the intricacy and the detail that I now understand. And guess what? In 4 years' time, I'm going to probably be that level again. Like there's still so much shit that I would not know about a triangle choke. So for me, when I was like, I went, and I talk about it all the time, but I went and did a trip riding with Ben Townley.
I think he's probably the best, one of the best moto coaches in the world. And
he's a badass.
Dude, it's insane. Shout out to Method Moto. He just like released his own coaching website. So if you're listening to this and you want to check out some of BT stuff, methodmoto.com. But I went there, and that's when he was like balls of the feet, and then he was like your arms are super stiff, like you got to unlock your elbow, and he said all this stuff, which is like day one triangle choke shit, you know. And I was like, oh, okay. But because of like the experience of going through the process of 4 years of like really working on jiu-jitsu, I was like, oh, I kind of get this. Like I get that he could say right on the balls of your feet, but that's like the ground floor of a skyscraper. You know, you're like, you've just walked in the lobby, and now you've got to take the stairs, and you've got to walk up 100 sets of stairs. And on every fucking new flight of stairs that you go up, every floor, there's like more details, there's more intricacy. And that's what I've sort of tried to, I guess, like apply to moto. And I've found that I enjoy riding so much more now when I'm just trying to work on these like small details and try to understand the positions. Because in my head, when you could like freeze a photo of Roxon or Chase Sexton at any point. I actually did. I don't know if you remember seeing on my story, but when Chase Sexton got the whole shot at Washougal, I think it was the first moto got the whole shot, and there was like I just paused the story, and then you could like take away all the bikes that were around him. That motherfucker had literally perfect technique, like elbows up, back straight, knees back, balls with feet, head was over the crossbar, eyes look like...
It's so frustrating.
Dude, right? But that's at the start of a fucking 35-minute moto with the best dudes in the world. And he is so committed to his technique that it's like ingrained at this point, you know? And it's sort of... You freeze a position. This is my breakdown of technique, right? Mm-hmm. The motorcycle is in a position. There is a correct body position to coincide with that bike position. So if you're standing going down a rough, fast straightaway, pause the bike, and then you should be able to tweak the rider to the perfect position to match what that bike is doing. You've got a rut, the bike's leaned over, there's a perfect position that the body should be in. So for every position that you are on the track, there is a correct position that your body should be in that matches up with the bike. And then you're going to feel like the balance point will be perfect, like all the geometry of the bike will work, the suspension of the bike will work. So really, all we're doing in motocross and supercross is we're just chasing positions around. The bike's moving, and we're trying to move on that bike to be in the right position at the right time. That's all technique is. In my head now, you know? So it's like, if you can break technique down into that one simple sentence of like, perfect technique is being in the correct position on the motorcycle at the required time. And then when you get real fucking good at it, you can just anticipate where you need to be on the bike. So yeah, my whole view on technique has changed as a result of spending that time with BT, and then I guess that like experience of like, because in jiu-jitsu all you have is technique. So you know, whereas in moto, like I never really applied it in the same way. Yeah,
like with your jiu-jitsu, it's like your technique makes you more efficient, right? Because if you try to do something and you're not doing it the right way, you're gonna blow like your 100%. Body out, and you're just gonna get tired like that. But if you do it right, it's like, that was it. Like, and same thing with moto. It's like, you know, you could do all this extra stuff and you'll be worn out, or you take the time to learn how to do it right, and you're like, same thing. It's like, okay, we're done. Like that's what it is. Watching Chase, it's very frustrating. And it's not just for me. It's for everybody. Because every photo and video you see, it's just the perfect posture. It's like, wow. Like, I don't know how somebody can be like that perfect, but props to him.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny too is that I kind of always had this idea in my head that somebody was just like, if you had good style on a bike, you were born with good style on a bike. If you got bad style on a bike, you will have bad style on a bike, you will die with bad style on a bike. Like, that's not something you can fix. But then what I've realized, that ain't fucking true.
No, it's not true. But have you ever seen photos of Sexton on a Super Mini?
Nah.
You should, because I think he posted one a while ago, or some like media source put it out there, but literally nothing's changed. Yeah. He's literally had that style from Super Minis, and it's just now on a big bike, and it just people pay attention to it more. But the kids had it for years.
So I've got my own theory around that, right? So for me, as a guy that I would say I'm not talented at riding a dirt bike. So in my mind, what talent is the ability to be in the correct position naturally without coaching.
I can agree with that.
So I think
that's how the sport works. Like, some kids are just naturally good at moto and they don't really have to put in the extra work, and they go super fast and they put in results. And then you have other guys that things don't really come naturally to them, so they work their butt off to get to that same position that this dude that had it naturally is already there. It's crazy how it works. It truly is.